You already know what an ancient mouth looked like. Rotten stumps, black gaps, breath that could drop a horse. No dentists, no toothbrushes, no toothpaste. Of course their teeth were a wreck. Except they weren't. Dig up a farmer from before farming, and you'll often find a cleaner, healthier mouth than yours. So what went wrong? And what were they doing about it 10,000 years before the toothbrush? Here's the strange thing about teeth. They're the hardest stuff your body makes, harder than bone. Long after the rest of you has rotted away, your teeth are still sitting in the ground, holding their secrets. So when we dig up someone who died 8,000 years ago, we can read their mouth almost like a diary. Every cavity, every worn edge, every ache they carried to the grave. And the diary doesn't say what you'd expect. You know the feeling, that deep, throbbing ache that swallows your whole skull, the one that makes you useless until someone makes it stop. Now imagine it with no painkiller, no drill, no dentist on speed dial. That was the gamble inside every mouth for almost all of human history. So you'd expect their teeth to be a horror show. Stay with me, because that expectation is exactly where everyone goes wrong. In the deserts of northern Sudan, anthropologists pulled teeth from skeletons buried up to 11,000 years ago. These were foragers, people who hunted, gathered, fished, and their cavity rate was almost nothing, fewer than one mouth in 100. Then something changed. The same region later, after people settled down to farm cereals and grind grain. And the cavities exploded, from under 1% to nearly 20%. Same people, same place. One difference, the food. Tooth decay didn't arrive because they lost their dentists. It arrived because they invented farming. Think about what farming actually put in the mouth. Soft, sticky, starchy carbohydrate. Bread, porridge, gruel, clinging to the teeth all day, feeding the bacteria that drill the holes. The hunter's diet barely fed them, the farmer's was a feast. So the great leap that gave us cities and writing and everything we are also handed us the cavity. We didn't decay because we were backward, we decayed because we got civilized. But here's where it gets human. Faced with a rotten, aching tooth, did they just suffer? In a rock shelter in northern Italy, scientists found a young man who died around 14,000 years ago. In one of his molars, a cavity, and around that cavity, under the microscope, tiny scratches, deliberate ones. Someone had taken a sharp sliver of flint and scraped the rot out of his tooth. That's the oldest dentistry we've ever found. 14,000 years ago, before farming, before metal, someone looked at a person in pain and tried to fix it. And the part that's genuinely hard to believe is what came next, because they didn't stop at digging out the rot, they tried to stop it happening at all. In a library in Vienna, there's a scrap of papyrus from Egypt, written around 1700 years ago, and on it, in faded ink, is a recipe, the world's oldest known toothpaste. Want to know what's in it? Rock salt, dried mint, a pinch of pepper, and dried iris flower, orris root. The scribe promised it would make white and perfect teeth. Sounds like marketing? Here's the thing. We now know orris root carries compounds that fight the exact bacteria behind gum disease. They couldn't see a microbe. They had no idea why it worked. But by trial, error, and centuries of patient watching, they'd stumbled onto something that genuinely did. A modern dentist actually mixed it up and brushed with it. His verdict? His mouth felt fresh and clean, and they were obsessed, honestly. The Greeks and Romans scrubbed with gritty powders of crushed shell, bone, and pumice. The Egyptians chewed the end of a twig until it frayed into soft bristles, a toothbrush you grow on a tree. And the reason behind all of it is the most relatable thing in this whole story. They didn't want bad breath. They wanted to smile at someone without shame, the same small, human vanity you felt this morning at the mirror. So, if they were this careful, why do you still picture them as wrecks? Because of what happened to us. In a cave in Ireland, researchers cracked open the teeth of a man who died 4,000 years ago and read the bacteria still frozen inside. They found Streptococcus mutans, the bug behind most cavities today, but barely holding on, rare, outnumbered. Then look at our own mouths. That same bug went on a population explosion, and it lines up almost exactly with one thing: sugar. When sugar flooded in by the boatload in the 17 and 1800s, decay didn't creep up, it surged. The rotten ancient mouth you imagined, it's mostly a portrait of the last few centuries, of us. So the next time you picture the people who came before, stooped, filthy, gap-toothed, remember the young man in the rock shelter, holding still while someone scraped the pain from his tooth. Remember the scribe grinding mint and salt for a whiter smile. They woke up worrying about the same mouth you did this morning. You reach for your toothbrush. 14,000 years ago, someone reached for a frayed twig and a sharp piece of flint. The toothbrush is new. The worry is as old as we are.